If you watched my previous video, then you might be feeling a bit of deja vu today, but I can assure you this is a completely different product. Yes, it's another tiny controller, but this time it's from 8BitDo, and it's the 8BitDo 02. Now, 8BitDo have made some great controllers, as well as a few that are kinda just about okay. We're about to find out where this thing fits in that range. Coming in at just a touch over 20 grams, the 02 comes in 3 different colours, all of which are reminiscent of the Switch Lite. It's got a pretty wide range of compatibility across platforms, and is listed as working with Switch, Windows, Android, macOS, Steam and Raspberry Pi. I don't have a Switch, I don't use Apple products, and if I'm going to be sat in front of a Windows computer, I might as well just use one of the many normal full-featured controllers I'm surrounded by. And the same goes for the Raspberry Pi. So I'll be confining my testing to Android. It's what I carry around with me at all times and where I really see this product being of most use. So anyway, what do you get in the box and what's it like? We've got the controller, a wrist strap, a micro USB to USB-A lead to charge it with, which is only about 2 to 3 inches long, possibly a contender for the world's shortest USB cable, but I guess it does fit into the small and handy to carry around ethos of the controller. USB-C would have been nice, but hey. And the ever so brief manual. One thing I'll say for 8BitDo, their instruction manuals are always brief, to the point and well written, without the Chinglish and spelling or grammatical errors you see in a lot of their rivals' products. Looking at the back of the controller, there is something that 8BitDo often that I really like. They list what you need to do to get the controller into whatever mode you need to get it in. You can choose from D input, X input, macOS, Switch or keyboard mode. I really wish all manufacturers would do this. I get sick of picking up controllers I haven't used in a while and trying, and usually failing, to remember the button combo to get it paired again, and normally having to search for and download the manual because I've just lost the original one. I mean, this doesn't take much to do, but it's such a thoughtful touch. You might need your glasses on to see it though, but at least it's there, and you know where to find it. However, while they have the instructions on the back, I don't know what genius at 8BitDo thought that white text on a bright yellow background was a good idea. Clear as day on the turquoise, but impossible to read on the yellow. So that's something worth bearing in mind if you're planning on buying one of these. So what's the build quality like? Well, despite the size and the weight, it feels okay. That's really just okay instead of great. I wouldn't want to drop it and put the robustness to the test. So if you're Mr. Clumsy, then maybe this isn't the product for you. Thankfully I'm not, and I'm not suggesting this is fragile or badly constructed. Just don't expect something that's the size and weight of this to be built like a tank. In terms of specification, the lithium-ion battery in this has got 120 amp millihour capacity, a charge time of between 1 to 2 hours, and 8BitDo claim you'll get around 8 hours of playtime when it's in use. Let's take a look at the buttons. The A, B, X, Y buttons feel quite good, and no matter how hard you push or where you push, they always stop short of ever coming level with the body of the controller. The D-pad seems okay and appears to have a central pivot point, meaning you can't push the whole thing in. Obviously the controller's got no thumbsticks, and neither does it have L2 or R2, but I'm certainly not, and I don't think anybody else is, buying something like this to play anything much more than simple retro games. The curviness of the controller might make it seem a bit less secure in the hand, but the shape of this means that the shoulder buttons are always under your fingers at all times, regardless of how you hold it. So you can push the controller buttons in from just about anywhere along the length of the button, rather than just from the top. They're nice and clicky, even if one of them seems to be more clicky than the other. Ultimately though, it's all about how they perform in gameplay, and I'll be coming to that shortly. Clearly, you aren't going to be playing GameCube, PS2 or even some PlayStation games of this, but it's perfect for thousands of 8 and 16-bit games. So let's take a look at some gameplay and see how this performs. When I look at something like this, I'm not expecting competition level performance. The key thing for me is that I'm looking to see if I can play a game I'm familiar with without a glaringly noticeable difference in performance. And obviously, part of that is the latency or lag. What you play to identify that lag is going to be different for most of us. For me, my go-tos are 1942 and Altered Beast. In the hand, this actually feels a lot less secure than the iPega mini controller I reviewed recently, which surprises me. It feels like it could almost shoot out of my hands at any point in time, but thankfully it never has. And I have to say that in terms of latency, it feels okay, and unless you're some pro-level 1942 or Altered Beast player, then I don't think you're going to notice anything. One thing I do notice though is that I'm not finding the D-pads to be as precise as I would like, and I'm finding myself going off at angles I didn't tend to be going in when I moved the D-pad. Now if you found this review useful, then please subscribe to the channel to get more content like this. So in summary, is it any good and is it worth the money? Honestly, the answer is yes and no. And the reason for that is it depends where you buy it from and how much you pay. I've seen this thing sell for between $18 and $26. At the lower end of the price scale, then this is a no-brainer. Just buy it. At the higher end, it makes no sense. But that's me. You decide obviously what's right for you. So, would you buy one of these? And if so, why? What would you be using for? And if not, then let me know why in the comments section below. And I'll see you in the next video.